Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. There's Kim Wemp. We're not sure how to pronounce her last name. I forget. She was here. It's either Wemp or Wempy. She lives in the East Coast. She's from
Wimpy.
Saskatchewan.
Oh, we love Saskatchewan. Do we?
Of
I don't
course
know.
we love Saskatchewan.
Of course.
What's not to love?
All of Canada. We love you.
We've got Donna Messer here. Donna, great to
Hi there.
actually meet you. I know we've talked on
Yes, we
email and
have.
stuff like
We
that.
have.
And you're the managing editor of Toronto Entrepreneurs Magazine and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
But I want to tell you, do you know why Saskatchewan is so important?
I'd like to know.
Mustard. They grow the mustard for the world.
Really?
All that mustard that you get from France all comes
You
from
mean the
Canada.
Dijon mustard?
Absolutely.
No way.
The Grey Poupon?
Absolutely. It's all Canadian based.
Really?
Absolutely.
How-
Isn't that typically Canadian?
How did they do that? How did they get the scoop on the Grey Poupon?
Because Saskatchewan has the best mustard in the world. So they grow
Mustard
it,
seed.
the mustard seed, and then they ship it to everywhere in the world, and they make
hard
wonderful
to believe.
mustard.
Wow, that's
Hard to
amazing. I didn't
believe.
know that.
Yes.
See?
You see?
Every
Ask
day.
me.
you
Every
learn
day there's a
something
new
thing.
something. Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
well let's keep going. Let's
Yeah.
let's find out a little bit about you because you're the, as we said, managing editor of Toronto Entrepreneurs Magazine, but and you know the Wine Ladies. 'Cause
Absolutely.
you're from Oakville.
That's
and you're
right.
Involved in charitable work and
We've done
stuff.
a lot of work together. Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
How did you find out about us?
Well, I'm a networker, and so I look to find out how people can benefit from knowing who I know. With the new magazine, I felt that a lot of entrepreneurs would benefit from having some visibility, and I wanted to find out the best way to get visibility. I like the idea of both radio and television, and when I did my homework, up came ThatChannel.
That's great. It's great that we came up.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And so I went with Randy last week, and we did the Toronto Enterprise Centre where Robert Herkovich's buddies, Kevin O'Leary and Jim Treleving, were doing an event.
The Dragon.
The two dragons.
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to go and interview those two dragons because I want to know as much as I can about dragons because entrepreneurs all pitch the dragons.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so how did you get to this point? Because
Do you want me to go to the beginning?
I want to hear the whole story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back, Donna started her career as a banker. I hated banking. It was boring and dull. So I went through a number of reincarnations of me, and I ended up in a small community called Rosemont, Ontario, population 300. And I decided that I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So I did the right things at the right time, and I started a little company that went from nothing to $1 million in just over a year.
What was it? What were you doing?
It's I invented the blend of spices that goes into sour cream for chip dip. Before me, there was no chip dip.
Really? You invented
Absolute-
chip dip?
I did.
You mean like onion chip dip?
Like anything. If you were old enough, Marla, you would remember taking the middle out of a Lipton onion soup mix and putting it into some sort of sour cream mix, because that was what chip
Yeah,
dip
we used
was.
to do that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm the person who invented the blend that makes chip dip.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was media.
Yeah.
It was being at the right place at the right time with the right set of circumstances. I wish I could say I was clever. I wasn't. I kept the company for 10 years, sold it, and then became the Director of Agriculture for the state of Illinois.
Wow.
So
Are
I
you
speak
Canadian?
American. I am. I'm the only Canadian that's ever been hired in that position.
How did you get that position?
I was at the right place at the right time with the right set of circumstances.
That sounds like networking.
That's right.
This is your
They-
mantra.
They hired me because I had the degrees, but they hired me because it would have taken them 5 years to get my database. So really it's what you know and who you know and how you use that knowledge. So I was there for 5 or 6 or 8 years, and people would come to me and they would say, Donna, can you connect us? And I kept hearing the word, can you connect us? And I thought, why not take that word, connect us, and put it onto a website? So in 1993, I was one of the first people to get a website under the Connect Us banner. And I've never looked back. Connect Us is what, I'm a matchmaker. I'm a business person who wants to make sure that you meet the right kind of people that benefit you, but it also benefits them. So that's what I'm all about. I write for a dozen different publications. I've done radio, I've done television. I know that media is important. So I'm here today because I teach people how to use media properly. You could have somebody here who could be making $1 million and they'll blow the interview because they don't know how to give you the answers you need. So I don't teach that, but I find people who can, and that helps us work together.
Wow. Okay. So I want to ask you, because I think before the show on, you mentioned something, and you said networking is a legacy.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what that means. Can you
Well,
describe that?
first of all, I said it's leverage, and legacy is something that you can inherit. Yesterday, I spoke to a group of foreign-trained doctors. All of them are feeling very, very low as far as self-esteem is concerned because they can't find jobs. But I showed them that their leverage could get them where they want to go with their legacy. So let me give you an example. There was a young man who is from Nigeria. He is a qualified doctor in Nigeria. He's working through the Canadian process, so he will get the opportunity to be a doctor here. I said, who do you know? And he said, well, I don't know anybody here in Canada. Well, I said, yes, you do, because he gave me a little card, and the card said WFG, World Financial Group. This young man went to work for a company that supports new Canadians and helps to build their self-esteem. I said, you've got a whole bunch of people that you can meet. He didn't recognize it. So what I've done is I've taken his card, I've gone back to what is called WFG, World Financial Group, and I've said, here's a young man who's going to be a doctor. You need him to talk to other people who are also looking at physicians and to get them into this kind of magazine. So it's all about leverage. My legacy is my father was an insurance salesman. That's the first type of networkers. If you're old enough to remember, and I don't think either of you are, but my father tells me about this, they used to knock on doors and they would pick up what he called a debit. And that meant people would pay 25 cents, they'd pay 50 cents, and it would insure their family. Well, the insurance agent in those days got to know what radio station they listened to. There was no television, got to know what church they went to, what the kids' names were, everything about them, because he was building a relationship. People like people who are like themselves. They buy from them, they sell to them, they hire them, they refer them. Networking is a legacy that I got from my dad, and I teach everybody this message. Wow, huh?
Wow.
You're a seller, that's for sure.
But I believe in the product, and the product is you, Marla. How am I going to sell you?
I don't know.
You have to be able to be willing to share something about yourself that somebody else will benefit from knowing. Now, you're a comedian. How often do you teach people the importance of laughter?
I don't.
You know, okay, so the magazine is called Toronto Entrepreneurs
Yes.
Magazine, and I think we're seeing a big shift in the economy for whatever reason you want, whether it's big companies just having to downsize. I think it's long-term trends.
Absolutely.
Everybody's becoming, whether they want to or not, they have to start to think like an entrepreneur.
Right, and the government, the federal government, has named 2011 as the year of the entrepreneur. Now, my stats tell me, the research that I've done, that a lot of kids that are coming out of university are saying, you know, we're going to be entrepreneurial. I interviewed a young man, his name is Kunal Gupta. He's 27 years old, and he invented a new company called Polar Mobile. He's out of Western University. He has 40 employees. The oldest one is 27. He invented the apps that go onto all the mobiles. I asked him why he called the company Polar, and he said because it's like the iceberg. Most of the information, the technology is below the ground. So this young man is incredible, and he's going to be an entrepreneur because he couldn't make the kind of money if he had a job. Now go on the other end of the spectrum, and you've got the senior. The senior is no longer able to retire at 65. They've got to do something that keeps generating an income. What is it called? Solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, seniorpreneurs. So they're coming up and they're taking something that they loved, not necessarily the job that they had during their life as far as work is concerned, and they're turning that into a second or third career. Entrepreneurship is huge. It's huge. And all it means is that you're responsible for your own success or failure. You're an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't work your tail off, you don't make any money.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's
So
what
get your cell phone fixed.
That's yeah. So the magazine is about entrepreneurs, and it's about all kinds of entrepreneurs. It's about old ones, young ones, middle-aged ones. It's about people who are making a lot of money and people who are not making any money. And the cover story is on Robert Herjavec. So Robert,
the guy from the Dragon's Den.
that's right. He's the friendly dragon.
This one. Yeah, the friendly. He's the one you want to be working
He's
with.
really nice.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Doesn't look nice.
Well, do you want to know about him?
If you want to spend your time, I want to ask you something. Have you ever thought of running for prime minister?
Yes.
Because that's what I get
Yes.
from you. I think you could run the country.
If they'd give me a chance and listen. But nobody really listens in politics. And forgive me, but I don't care what jacket you wear, whether it's red, green, orange, or purple. Politicians are not listening to people. If they listened to people, there would be no election. If they listened to people, they would actually do something.
Well, what's one of the things you would want
Hey,
to change?
they're bombing Libya. Come on.
Yes. I'll tell you one of the first things that I would change. Stephen Harper is one of the best strategists I've ever met. But he's not necessarily charisma. He needs to have someone teach him to laugh. He needs to have someone interview him and say, cut the crap, tell me who the real Stephen is. Now, whether he's a good guy or bad guy, that's your decision. Same thing with Iggy. You know, we gotta get real people. When was the last time you saw a politician who was real? Ask them a question and they got party line.
No, you know what?
Trudeau.
I'm thinking that like big businesses are dinosaurs that are you know, they're cutting and cutting and cutting, and they're doing less and less
I agree.
useful work. Same with the political system.
Absolutely.
It's serving the people of this country less and less. I
Yeah.
think we have to reinvent politics.
I think you're right, and you're probably right, Marla, that there needs to be somebody that's not afraid to speak up. But think about it. In Canada, as in any other country, if you're a politician, everything you do is public domain. Well, what happens if you don't want to have your laundry hanging out there?
Mm-hmm.
So the good people oftentimes don't become politicians because of that.
Yeah, that's part of, and that's
Yeah,
part
but
of the
you know,
problem.
At some point, maybe the society has to not care about people's private lives or their laundry. I always say, I don't care who you're sleeping with. Can you do the job right? And if you're doing the job right, I don't care what Clinton did or any other politician, as long as you're not, doing something
Well, then I'll
against
run
somebody's
for
wishes.
Prime Minister.
I think
Are
you
you going to
should.
vote for me? Okay.
And I can't
My
wait to find your
platform
dirt.
is it's for the people, by the people, and you
Yeah.
got to work.
Mm-hmm.
No unemployment. Everybody's working.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the magazine.
Yes.
Because it's a magazine, I guess, about entrepreneurs, but what's the real mission, vision of it, and what's your approach to entrepreneurship?
Okay, so because I'm an entrepreneur, I think that I need to show other entrepreneurs how to get in front of people. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are really good at making water or making print, but they don't know how to get it out there. So my role was to connect with a number of people and say, okay, who are you? Are you an entrepreneur? Yes, I am. Well, what makes you an entrepreneur? So I'm actually doing kind of Q&As. So the article I did with Robert Herjavec is a Q&A. So Robert, where did you come from? How did you get there? What were the secrets? So it's a blah, 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 blah. Some of the articles are I've interviewed them and then put it into a bit of a profile. But I believe that when you read the magazine, you'll want to be in it.
And when is it coming out?
May the 7th, it launches. We've sold 1,100 tickets for the Toronto Entrepreneurs Conference. It's at the Toronto International Centre. It's being organized by Mark Balash. Mark Balash is the owner and publisher. He also owns Toronto Jobs, torontojobs.ca. This is, I think you might have interviewed him a couple of years ago.
I think I did.
Yeah, because I told him I was coming, so I talked to him a couple of years ago. But I said, Mark, you didn't refer him to me. So this is something that you have to know. Mark is a chartered accountant, and he's really good. He's Profit 50, so you know he's making money. And he recognizes that there are a lot of unemployed people who, in fact, could be entrepreneurial. But they need to learn, and they need to be trained. And the government currently isn't training you for entrepreneurship.
Now, they were doing something, right, a couple of years ago, at least part of employment.
They, with Service Ontario, which is now the deliverer of everything, they had what was called an SEB, self-employment benefits. And if you were eligible for an SEB, you could then become a self-employed person, an entrepreneur. You could start a small business. But there was only so many people that could do that. So I speak to those people and I work with them all the time, but I can't get them all. So the magazine is going to reach 130,000 people. That 130,000 people are going to get the opportunity to have experts. Now, if you happen to be an expert, and I like what you've said, I'm going to ask you, would you be one of my experts? That means I'm going to be able to share who you are and what you know with somebody. Did it cost me anything? No. Did it cost you anything? No. Is it going to add value to you? Yes. Is it going to help my audience? Absolutely. That's what this is about.
What do you think about those programs, like the SEB program? Because they offered a little bit of a financial support to those entrepreneurs. And yet, I think the governments are going to continue the trend of pulling back from that kind of support.
They have pulled back a great deal. My opinion, and this is only my opinion, is that right now the governments, both provincial and federal, are focusing on our immigrant population, because it's growing more and more and more. So the person who's on EI, who is eligible for some sort of benefit program, they're being cut more and more and more. I believe that a lot of the companies that deliver those programs, if you ask them, have a fairly high success rate. I have no idea if it's 75 or 85%. But when you get the chance and you have people like me who can teach you something and you learn it, then you do become more self-sufficient.
I mean, what do you think, though, if governments are pulling back from the support of these programs, and it seems to me the need, or as we talked about, it's the entrepreneurial sector is growing.
Yeah, there
right?
is a need, but the government is not listening to that need, and they're cutting. But I have to tell you that I heard a financial report from a fellow by the name of Jay Nichols, and Jay is from TD Canada Trust, and I heard him in Ottawa. I have never heard anyone explain the economy so well. And what he said was, Canada is in the best shape in the world because of our government and because of our fiscal responsibilities. Now, this was his opinion. And I said, okay, well, with Japan and whatever's happening, is it going to impact us? And he said, absolutely. But he said, I'll tell you, we are the star. And he said, if we're all going to the glue factory, Canada will be the best horse there.
Well, that's great.
Isn't that good news?
That's great if you're in the glue business.
Right, but but I liked his analogy, because what he said was, fiscally, we are in the economy, we are in good shape.
Okay, but if we have an increasing class of entrepreneurs that are trying to do business with one another, but nobody's got any money, there's no liquidity there for people to do business with one another. This is my concern, that we're creating a class of people who are, they calling themselves entrepreneur, they don't count as unemployed, but they're finding it difficult to do business just because a lot of people don't have money.
Because they don't know how to network.
Okay, great.
The problem is, 3/4 of the world say, hi, my name is Donna and I sell. Do you want to buy? They don't take the time to find out if you even like the water. They don't know anything about you. All they do is want to sell their product or service. They need a slap on the side of the head, and they need to learn how to build a relationship to find out what you need. They may not be able to supply it, but if they know someone who can, that's how you build. That's how you get your business.
So is that networking in a nutshell?
Absolutely.
That's it. We just have to unpack that.
If I could get the government to give me the okay to go into schools, in public school, and teach the kids how to actually sell whatever it is they have to sell to get the programs they need in the schools. Because they just go to their parents and say, I need. I want to go to the high schools and teach the high schools to understand that networking is about making their network work. And I want to go to the universities. Right now, I speak to every single university in Ontario, every one of them. And there isn't one kid that, and these kids can go to 35, there's not one of them that doesn't say when I'm done, I should have had this taught to me when I was a kid. So networking is the secret. If you network, you get work. That's it. And whether that work is entrepreneurial, whether that work is through government, whether it's through unions, it doesn't matter. It makes sense for that person to learn about the other person. That's it.
All right. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, Donna. Isn't
I'm
that
sorry
crazy
about
how
that,
fast
yeah.
it goes? But
Well,
we would
you'd
love to have you
come
back. But we still have a little bit of time, and I
Yes.
want to ask you, because the magazine's coming out
Yes.
May 7th. The launch is going to be at the International Center.
Yes.
Who's the real target for this magazine? Who should think about picking up a copy or getting their hands on a copy?
Well, what I understand, those people who should pick it up are people who want to be, those people who already are, but they're in the beginning stages, those people who are successful entrepreneurs, and those people who've been entrepreneurial for a long time and are looking for succession planning. So it's all of them. Robert Herkovic is going to talk about the top. He's worth an awful lot of money. He's got a 50,000 square foot home. He hobnobs with the millionaires. I'm the kickoff speaker. I'm an ordinary run-of-the-mill person. But what I'm going to tell every single person that comes there, I'm going to get you to know every other person that's in that room. And the reason I'm going to do that is because everyone's going to be there because they want to benefit. And the only way they can benefit is to rub shoulders with everybody else that's there.
All right. And if people don't show up on May 7th, where can they get their hands on the magazine?
They would have to order it. And what they can do is they can go on my website, which is connectuscanada.com. And I believe that if you wanted to order, you can just let me know. If you want to go directly, you can go to Mark Balash. The website for Toronto Entrepreneurs is torontoentrepreneurs.ca. And I would invite both of you to not only read the magazine, but maybe think about submitting something.
That's a great invitation. Thanks for doing that. And I can't speak for you, Marla, but just may follow up.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thanks, Donna, for coming. So, torontoentrepreneurs.ca,
connectuscanada.com.
Okay.
And I'm Donna Messer.
Donna Messer. Are you related to Don Messer?
Absolutely, but I don't fiddle around. Good line, huh?
Yeah.
True.
What's your...
My husband's family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's it for the show, Marla.
Well, it was a great show, probably better than you expected.
Why? Why would you think I
I don't
wouldn't
know,
think it would be a great show?
I just get this feeling.
Okay, well, we'll explore. Let's get in touch with our feelings after the
Let's
show.
get our emotional intelligence on board and have it gauged.
I hear it can't be
I'd
taught.
like to know what your number will be.
Okay. Oh, we'll do that. That's it for the show. Thanks, everybody. Here's Kim Wempy, and we'll see you all tomorrow at noon for more Liquid Lunch right here on ThatChannel.com.
Of the rolling tap is enough to drown the thoughts out of my head. Oh, but not make them disappear. And I'm sorry that life stole all my expressions, except this blank stare. And you can hold my scarred up hands, but you still come out empty. And you can give me every flower. All that this world could grow, but truth is that they all still die. Just like you and I. So I can't give you any advice, except to keep on running away. You gotta keep on running away. We both know my body's like a werewolf in the night. Yeah, my heart is in remission, my body's on a mission. And if you try to see the best inside,